From Washington, this is VOA News. Coming up, former UK leader dies, plus the top U.S. diplomat working for Mideast peace. Hello everyone, I'm Steve Norman. Former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher has died. She was 87 years old, all of this following a stroke. Known as the Iron Lady for her personal and political toughness, Mrs. Thatcher was a stern conservative who broke the power of British unions, eliminated many government subsidies, and enabled far greater role for private enterprise in Britain. She led the Conservative Party to 3 election victories from 1979 to 1990, the longest continuous period in office by a British Prime Minister since the early 19th century. The British government and Mrs. Thatcher will receive a ceremonial funeral at St. Paul's Cathedral with military honors. Prime Minister David Cameron cut short a visit to Spain and France following the news. He said Monday his country had lost a great leader, a great prime minister, and a great Britain. Miss Thatcher received praise from across the political spectrum, even from Labour leader Ed Miliband.
She was a unique political figure. She defined the politics of a whole generation. She was Britain's first woman prime minister. She won 3 general elections, and she was a huge, towering figure on the world stage.
European Commission President José Manuel Barroso remembered Mrs. Thatcher's contributions to the European community.
She will be remembered both for her contributions and her reserves to our common project. She signed the Single European Act, and she helped bring about the single market.
President Obama said the world had lost one of the great champions of freedom and liberty. In other news, French troops in northern Mali have launched a new operation against a suspected Islamist militant base near the city of Gao. Al-Qaeda-linked militants fled to remote areas after French and Malian government troops drove them out of northern Mali's main cities and towns in a January offensive. Suicide car bomb attack in the Syrian capital Damascus killed at least 15 people and wounded more than 50 others. Syrian officials are blaming terrorists, a term they frequently use to describe rebels fighting President Bashar al-Assad's military forces. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon says a team investigating claims of chemical weapons use in Syria is ready to deploy in the country within 24 hours, but is still waiting for approval from the Syrian government.
My position is clear. All serious claims should be examined without delay, without conditions, without exception.
Speaking in The Hague, Mr. Bond said the team is waiting in Cyprus and that discussions continue with Syria over other technical and legal issues. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says he's trying to restart Israeli-Palestinian peace talks by addressing the key concerns of both parties. Speaking Monday at the U.S. consulate in Jerusalem, Mr. Kerry said he believes progress is possible if the parties work together to meet Israel's security needs and Palestinian statehood aspirations. He held talks at the consulate with Palestinian Prime Minister Salam Fayyad, and later he met with Israeli President Shimon Peres.
I would say to everybody, I have no illusions about difficulties. We've seen them. But you have to believe in the possibilities to be able to get there, and you and I believe in them, and I am convinced that there is a road ahead.
U.S. State Department officials have said Secretary Kerry will press for confidence-building gestures by Israel and the Palestinian Authority. Whistleblowing website WikiLeaks has launched a searchable database containing 1.7 million U.S. diplomatic and intelligence documents from the 1970s that it says have been officially declassified but were difficult for the public to access. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange.
This material that we've published today is the single most significant geopolitical publication that has ever existed.
He made that announcement by a video link from the Ecuadorian embassy in London. U.S. State Department has declined to comment on the authenticity of the documents available on the WikiLeaks database and says it is still looking into the matter. For more on that story and the rest of the hour's news, check out our website at voanews.com. I'm Steve Norman, VOA News in Washington.